Okay, so now that we've talked about the metric system in a previous video, let's talk about how we're going to convert metric measurements that have prefixes. So the idea is we may have something in millimeters, and we want to know how many meters that is. Or we may have something in micrograms, and we want to know how many milligrams something is in. So we're going to talk about interconverting between metric units. You should have this table, okay? It should be handed out to you, or maybe you copied it down, or maybe you have access to it in digitally. But somewhere you should have this table, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a process called the Zork, okay? The Zork is my favorite way to convert metric values, okay? And this is a fancy way of moving the decimal, but we're not going to have to worry about we're not going to have to worry about thinking too much about whether we're going to move it left or right, which way it's going, all the decimal point, all this stuff. Okay, so we're going to look at the Zork, and we're going to use the Zork as our basis here. Here is our steps for using the Zork to convert. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to find the starting value with the unit. Okay, and we're going to record the power of the unit. Okay, and then we're going to decide where we're going, like what's the answer, what's the unit of the answer, and we're going to record that power. And then you're going to subtract the powers, okay? And it doesn't matter really which way you're going to go, because you're really just going to take the absolute value of that subtraction, okay? And we talked about absolute value with percent error. So, you're just going to figure out what it is without being positive or negative. Then you're going to determine which way you went on the list. So you have the list in front of you, whether it's digitally or whether it's on a piece of paper, and you're going to decide whether you went up or whether you went down. And then you're going to move the decimal point. And then I have this thing, okay? If you go up, you go to the left. If you go down, you go to the right. And so here's where the Zork comes in. If you go up on the list, you're going to move the decimal point to the left. If you go down on the list, you're going to move the decimal point to the right. Okay? And then you're going to finish off by making sure you have the correct units. Okay? So I know that this probably doesn't mean much right now, but you should write down these steps. You should have them, and then we're going to take a look at how the Zork works in real life. So here's what we got. I'm going to get out my table. So I have my table here, okay? So kilo, here's what we're going to do. We're going to convert 0.0545 kilometers to centimeters, okay? So we're going to look. Kilo on the list. Kilo is what power? 3. So we wrote a 3, okay? Centi, when centi's on the list, we go down, we find centi, and that's -2, okay? So the difference between 3 and -2, you do 3 minus -2, is equal to 5. And we do the absolute value, so this is going to be 5. It doesn't matter, even if you don't do the negative value, or the absolute value, just don't ignore whether it's positive or negative, okay? So now, here's where the Zork comes in play. Which way did we go? We went down. If you look, here, let me move this over. If you look, we went from kilo here down to centi here. So if we go down, follow the Zork, whoop, we move the decimal to the right, okay? And then how many places do we move it? We move it 5 places, so we figured out 5 places to the right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move the decimal point, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and because there is no numbers here, we're going to add zeros, and then we're going to put a decimal in there, okay? So let me clarify that. We have 0.045, Okay, and we're going to move the decimal 1, 2, 3. Now we don't have any more numbers, so we're just going to keep moving it, but we're going to add zeros, and now we get that here. Okay, and we don't need to put the zeros in front, so we get 4,500 centimeters. Okay, now if you wanted to keep the unit, that's fine. If you wanted to abbreviate the unit, that is also fine. The only way to get good at this is to actually do it. Okay, so megabytes, 128 gigabytes. So we want to go to megabytes. And I wrote it this way because a lot of students will get in the habit of, like, the first thing is where we're starting and this is where we're going. That's not what we're doing. We're starting at 128 gigabytes, okay? And we're going to megabytes, okay? You always start with the number and its unit. So we're starting at giga and going to mega. So giga is 9, mega is 6, so 9 minus 6 is 3, okay? Even if you did 6 minus 9, that's going to give you negative 3, but we're just worried about the absolute value of this, so it's still just going to give you 3, okay? So you have some things helping you here, okay? And we're going to go from giga down to mega, right? Just on the list. We're just looking at the list, and we're trying to figure out which way to go. So we're going down, so we go to the right. How many places? 3. So we're going to go 3 to the right. So 128. The decimal point is not shown in the number, but we always assume it to be to the right of the last digit when it's not there. And so now we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to put the zeros in. We're going to add the decimal, get rid of that decimal. And now, to make sure that it's clear about what your answer is, you're going to rewrite the number with the unit. Mega, capital M, mega, megabytes, or MB, okay? Mega is a capital M as its abbreviation. Okay? Let's try another one. So we have start with the number. Don't start with the first unit, start with the number. Okay? So we have 0.23 decigrams. Deci on the list, 10 to the minus 1. Then we're going to kilo, which is 3. Find the difference. Negative 1 minus 3. Okay, so this is going to be negative 4, but again, absolute value. So we're just going to do 4. Okay, and then we're going to decide, are we going to go, we've been going down a lot. Are we going to go up or down? Okay, so let's see here. So we're at deci, right? We started at deci. Start with the number. We're at deci, and we're going to go up this time to kilo. Okay, so if we go up, we want to make the top of our Z. Okay, this is our Z. Okay, so we're going to go up, and we're going to go to the right, or to the left. Okay, to the Beyonce. We're going to Beyonce that decimal point. Okay, to the left, to the left. Okay, and we're going to move that decimal 4 places. Okay, so 0.23. So we're going to move the decimal 1. Now we're going to make up some zeros. 2, 3, 4. We're going to put our decimal in there. And then we're going to do 0.0000. Look, between here and here, there's 4 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 23. And that's kilograms, kg, kilograms. Okay. Or kilograms. Okay, whichever works for you. Okay, so maybe you pause it here and we try to do this. Okay, try to do it on your own. Okay, so we're going to start with the number. Okay, start with the number. The number is 0.45. So the unit with the number is milli. So this is -3 to seconds. No prefix. So when it's no prefix, it's no power. So it's 0. Okay, so -3 minus 0 equals -3. But again, we're going to do absolute values. So this is just 3 places. Now we have to decide if it's left or right. So we're at, let's see, we're at milli here, and we're going up to the unit with no power. Okay, so we're going to move this to the left. We're going to Beyonce this to the left, 3 places. So if I rewrite this number, 1, 4, 5, we're going to move it 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to go 0, 0, 0. Notice there's 3 zeros before I get to the 4, 5. We're going to put a leading 0 in there because we always put a 0 in front of the decimal point. Okay, and then that's going to be seconds, which is abbreviated S. Okay, so there's your conversions. There's the Zork. Okay, the Zork combined with this list should allow you to do metric conversions. Pretty straightforward. Hopefully you're going to do enough of these that this list becomes almost second nature. Not to say that you won't have it as a reference, but a lot of people kind of know where things are and know what prefixes mean just from using this list a lot. Okay? So, have a great day, everybody.